cold in my house right now. What's up? I'm doing a how to get better at the marathon, how to prepare for your first one, how to run more of them. I've got a pretty good track record. I've run 2:11 at the Olympics. I'm supposed to convert to 2:05, but people don't want to give me that, so don't give me that. Okay, 2:11. The marathon is the most aerobic event in common track, and it's the foundation for all other events. So if you get better at your marathon, you'll get better at everything down to the 1500. Maybe the 8, but I'm not gonna promise there, but down to the 1500. So this applies to track guys too. Tip number 1 is don't get injured. It's something very controllable for most people, right? Some of us are made of glass, and then you're gonna have a whole separate challenge with running. But if it gives you hope, usually the guys who are made of glass are super talented aerobically. Most of us have things that bother us that we can control, right? If you have lots of stress fracture problems, usually if you switch to the bike, if you ran on grass, if you stretched more, you could deal with it. You just don't want to, right? And that is gonna be the worst thing for your development, because if you can't compete, you can't learn. If you can't run, you can't learn. And then you're falling behind people who are worse, who are better. It's a bad situation to be in. You need to figure out what keeps you healthy. For me, I've said this before, my tendons are my problem, not muscles, not bones typically. But I'll knock on wood there just because bones are always scary. But tendons are my problem. So I take collagen, I run on soft surface if my tendon starts getting aggravated. I'll aqua jog if it's really bad, but I keep a close eye on my tendons. I'll stay hydrated, stuff like that. I know what I need to watch out for, right? I don't like stretching. If I don't stretch, I don't get hurt. Once again, knock on wood. But you have to know what you need, and you also have to know what you don't need. Because if I'm spending 10 minutes a day stretching to prevent an injury I never get, maybe I'll fall off of the stretching and I'll fall off of the tendon stuff. And then I'll be screwed when I get a tendon problem. But I don't need that stuff. Maybe you don't need the tendon stuff, but you do need the slow mileage builds. I don't need the slow mileage builds, but I need the tendon stuff. You gotta know you. And if you're young, you probably don't know yet. You'll learn, and it'll be hard. You'll get hurt, you'll do this, you'll be lazy, and then you'll learn what you can't be lazy about and what you can be lazy about. Number 2, don't overcomplicate it. I did 2 types of workouts for my marathon and a lot of mileage. Double threshold, which is like broken up tempos, equivalent to a tempo. And then I did long runs. I thought, okay, a marathon is 26 miles. Let's just get pretty close to that. I do 18 miles hard, first half, medium hard, second half, getting harder. Why overthink it? Some people, let's do 5 miles easy, into 2 miles up, 1 mile coast, 2 miles really hard, 1 mile slower. Like, what are we doing, right? You're writing Pythagorean theorem. It's a marathon. Just run far, kind of hard every once in a while, right? I do advocate getting a coach. Some of you guys don't have the experience to come up with this on your own, but simple is better than complicated, right? And not because it works better, because they both work the same. So why are you, we have to do 2 miles up, 1 mile you jog backwards to keep your heart rate up, and then you go sideways, then you go the other side to stay even. I'm exaggerating, but this is basically some of the monkey business stuff people come up with. Just run. Number 3, this is maybe a hot take. Split up what you can. Don't run far all the time just to do it. That's something that's part of marathon training. Your muscles have to be able to hold up for 26 miles of running, right? But don't just do a tempo because it's kind of long, and run 12 miles on your easy day because it's kind of long, and then do the hard long run because it's long. Break up what you can. The only run in my schedule that is continuous and long is my long run, right? Which is once every 6 days. A hard long run's once every 14-ish days. That's enough for me to deal with the length. Everything else I split up. My easy runs are just for aerobic development. So I don't care how long I run. It's usually like an hour and 45, an hour and an hour. My tempo days, I split into doubles. So that's already like, it would be 6 and 5 or something. And then I also split those into cruise intervals. So in 6 miles, I do 3 minutes on, 1 minute jogging, right? Break up what you can. Because it's very easy because there's traditional stupid logic that people have that says, you wanna run a marathon? Okay, we're gonna do 12 miles every day, and it's gonna be grueling. And then we'll do 20 miles on Wednesday, then 22 on your long run day, and just one of those is probably enough. If it's not, then you can adjust, but it's my 2 cents. Number 4, threshold is important. Second most important. We'll get to what's most important. One of your biggest predictors of marathon performance alone is anaerobic threshold. If you don't know, that's like when you're running at a 7 out of 10 effort, your heart rate's like 180, maybe 170 if you're older. Workouts that prioritize that are way more important than anything that goes 5K race pace, anything that goes mile race pace. So prioritize those workouts. That's one thing I love about the marathon. You don't need as much finesse. A 5K, a mile, those are more like dances where there's a slower part in the start, then you crescendo, you get louder, like faster, you end up sprinting. Completely different energy systems. The marathon is more like a squat, like a 2-hour squat. You're just trying to strain this one energy system as much as you can. It's like 2, aerobic and threshold, but it's that sort of, it's way more flat. You just get that system as strong as possible. I think that's why it's so much more appealing to mass people. You just have to work on this one sort of energy system instead of thinking I have to do strides, I have to do sprints, I have to do, keep my core super strong, I have to do all this other stuff that plays into the shorter events. You just have to get your threshold as low, high, as fast as possible. Number 5, threshold second most important. Mileage is king though. You want to get as high mileage as possible with a caveat. If you are in the range where you could do 130, you probably don't want to go any higher. But I bet all of you, I would put money, no more than 2 of you are in this situation. So anyways, mileage is always better, that you adapt to. That's not to say go outside and try and run 100 miles today, but the most mileage you can handle is probably better for you. For the marathon, just because it's such a flat event, like I said, it's more like a squat than any sort of sport like basketball or soccer, where you need finesse, you need different attributes, you need this and that. You just need to be able to squat for 2 hours. It's wonderful. And to clarify, I do mean easy mileage, right? You don't want to go work out 6 days a week, 7 days a week. Easy mileage. The higher your mileage is, the better your predicted marathon performance is, until you get to like 140, 150 miles a week, which none of you are doing that, so don't worry about that. Bonus tip 6, length of build. I have done, my marathon build was 6 weeks before the taper. So that's what I would recommend for the minimum. You could even do 6 with the taper. So that'd be 4 weeks and then taper down would be the minimum. I wouldn't recommend going over 4 months, 5 months, because then you're just like, it's way too easy to overtrain. Like, what are you working for at the start of that? It's so far away. I would say 16 to 20 weeks is the max. And even then you gotta be really serious. I would say the ideal amount of time is that 8 to 12 week range where you have a goal. Every workout is building towards that goal. You don't have dead space. The marathon's close. At the same time, you have time to prepare for it. I don't know if this video will do well. A lot of you guys are track guys, but if there's any marathon people watching this, talk about why you love the marathon in the comments. Mwah. Thanks for watching.